In this video, I'll show you a comparison between the current iPad models before the iPad Pro M5 will be released in October soon. The current iPad Pro models are the iPad Pro M4, 11-inch and 13-inch. This one is the 13-inch, and I have a big dilemma. I can't really decide between 11-inch and 13-inch. I don't feel like buying an iPad Pro 11-inch. I feel like if I'm going to spend money on the iPad Pro, it might as well be the larger size, the 13-inch. And the reason why I made this video in the shop here, I wanted to see how the iPad looks in my hand while I record the video, and then I thought, why not show it to you also and ask you, maybe you have some ideas on which iPad is better. For sure, the iPad Pros are the most useful ones. They have the most powerful processors, the M4, the Apple M4 Silicon, but they are also very expensive compared to the iPad Mini, compared to the iPad Air, or even the simple iPad A16. I'm recording this with my iPhone 16 Pro Max, and I don't know if you noticed, there are some lines, some banding on the screen. The camera is recording in 4K 60. It's interesting how that thing shows, but in dark mode it doesn't show, so that's okay for me. The iPad 13-inch has a really nice OLED display. The colors are really bright, and this is the 13-inch iPad Air. Another option. The size of the iPad Air 13-inch is pretty good, but the screen is less bright because it's OLED. It's really the best screen you can have. In some situation you can't really tell the difference, but in some you do. So if you really want the best screen, the iPad Pro 11-inch or 13-inch, they have OLED displays. And here the responsiveness of the iPad Air is pretty good. The iPad Air is the M3 version, and this was released in 2025. The iPad Pro M4 was released in 2024, I believe, and there will be a refresh coming soon now in October 2025, and this is the iPad Air 11-inch. And this is the biggest dilemma for me. If the 11-inch size for iPad is too small, or if it's perfect. I really feel like this is ideal for going somewhere, being very portable as a really portable iPad, and bigger than your iPhone or any Android phone, but still not as big as that 13-inch. Actually, the 13-inch versus 11-inch is not much of a big difference, but it feels like you can see the difference. This is the cheapest iPad, the A16 iPad, the simple iPad, not Air, not Pro, no anything, and it still looks pretty good, the same as the iPad Air, and I'm really tempted to get the iPad simple A16 and see how I like it, if I enjoy it. Especially this one has some limitation. It doesn't have Apple Intelligence, but Apple Intelligence is not really that great. I mean, you know, and maybe Apple Pencil Pro doesn't support Apple Pencil Pro, so maybe that's a reason not to get this and get the iPad Air. But the prices go up. This is the cheapest iPad, the iPad A16, and to me it looks very responsive, the same way as the other one. That's iPad A16 11-inch, and this is iPad Air 11-inch also. The iPad Air does look better, and it should be faster because it has an M3 processor. Yeah, I don't know, it's a very hard decision to make, and eventually I will either buy the iPad A16 or the iPad Pro 13-inch, and probably it's gonna be the M5 iPad after the new iPads are released. But the iPad A16 is really tempting. It's so simple, and I would like to use that. Still, the iPad Pro could be really useful even for editing some videos. DaVinci Resolve has a version of the app for iPad, and it works on the iPad. And for DaVinci Resolve, actually, it's recommended to get the more memory for iPad, but then it's more expensive, a lot more expensive. Yeah, so that's the iPad Air 13. And this is the iPad Pro 13. This keyboard, I'm not sure if I would get it because it's really expensive. I really don't need that keyboard. I can use any Bluetooth keyboard. I go to look at the iPads and simply hold them in my hand and see how they feel like, if it feels too big. I had an Android tablet before and it was 8-inch, and even that felt like it was pretty big. I preferred to use the phone, but I wasn't using that tablet for anything more than just watching videos and reading some text on it. And the current iPads here, that was not an iPad, it was an Android tablet, but the iPads, they're really powerful, and the processor on the iPad is really, I believe, is probably more powerful than my desktop computer. So that's something to think about. And someone was writing here some messages. Yeah, this is a display unit. I simply went to the shop and I was trying to see how the iPad looks like, and especially how the iPad looks like in my hand, because I want to make some videos with the iPads, and I'm not sure if the iPad Pro 13-inch is the right size. Maybe it's too big, but it has so much space on it, and really it's super light and it's very thin. I mean, it's so thin that I'm actually worried that it might break when I use it. Yeah, so definitely I would use this in a case. I saw a Logitech case that looked interesting, ESR also that looked interesting, and probably I'll get the simplest folio case, just a folder case for it. It has iOS 26 and this multiple windows, but I don't know really how to use this option, Stage Manager. This is another reason to get the 13-inch size for iPad Air or iPad Pro, that you can have multiple apps on the screen in windowed mode or Stage Manager, and you can take notes and do something at the same time, like watch a video and take notes, or have two documents open. That's really useful. It's looking more like a computer, like a real Mac or a Windows computer, where you can do things with multiple windows. On a phone it would be very difficult to do any multitasking, especially editing things, but on the iPad it's probably easier, especially with the Magic Keyboard. If I would buy the Magic Keyboard or the Logitech keyboard or the ESR keyboard, I think it's ESR, I'm not sure now, but those keyboards, they are really high productivity, but they do add weight to it, and then it's not really an iPad anymore. It turns into some kind of a combination with a laptop, and I'm not sure if I want to turn it into a laptop. I prefer to use it in iPad mode, as simple as possible. And there is DaVinci Resolve here. All the videos you watch on this channel are edited in DaVinci Resolve, the version for desktop. So this is the version for iPad, and it's a big deal here. In iOS 26 you get the menu. You get the menu on the top of the app, so you can really do lots of things. Yeah, I really don't think all these things are needed, but different people use DaVinci Resolve in different ways, so it's always good to have the options there. And yeah, probably if I will have the iPad Pro 13-inch, then probably the videos will be edited on the iPad. I'm trying to close the Magic Keyboard, but that anti-snatch device doesn't let it close. I don't really like this Magic Keyboard, because it doesn't give much protection, so the iPad is really without any case on it. It's just sitting there on the magnet of the Magic case. So yeah, also if you're buying the Magic Keyboard, make sure that the keyboard is the language you want, and it's not QWERTZ, for example, or Greek or some other. I prefer to use the United States International Keyboard or United States. That's really my favorite. And yeah, you have to be careful with the keyboards. The weight with the keyboard and the iPad is really considerable, so yeah, that's something to think about. The prices for iPads, the most expensive is the 13-inch for iPad Pro, and it gets more expensive if you add more storage to it. These are the iPads, the current versions, until the new ones are released. I hope this makes things more clear and not more confusing. I hope this helps you. Thanks for watching.